I do quite a few lunch appointments, and on occasion, I'll either make a mistake or something gets stood up, or I say stood up, not really, usually it's just something comes up and I find myself alone. Normally I would just get up and leave and go on with my day with the things I have to do, but not too long ago I was here in Marie Callender's, and that happened. My lunch appointment didn't show up, and I was sitting there, and rather than just getting up and going on to the next thing, I actually did something I wish I did more often. I paused and I prayed and I said, Father, is there a reason why this person didn't show up and a reason why I'm here today? And in that moment, God spoke to me. Not an audible voice, but just an impression on my heart. And this is what he said. He said, your waitress just had her boyfriend break up with her and she's really hurting. Now, I want you to understand something about me. That's not an everyday occurrence for me to have those sort of moments where God speaks with such clarity. In fact, I was frankly terrified when he said that, because I thought, and you want me to say this to her? I was thinking, oh my word, what if I'm wrong? She's going to think I'm crazy. She's going to think I'm a fool. And so when she came back to the table, I did sort of the coward's thing. I broadened what God said to me to just, I heard maybe you have some relational problems, what I was going to say. Chicken that I am, to be very specific. But at least I tried. So she came back and she stood there, and I said to her, hey, I know you're probably going to think I'm a little weird, but I was just sitting here and I was praying, and I felt like God impressed on my heart that you have some sort of relational difficulty right now in your life. What happened next just shocked me. This sweet young gal, her jaw just dropped to the floor, and she literally began to take little steps backwards as she said, oh my God, oh my God. And tears began to fill her eyes. And then she told me that the night before, her boyfriend had broken up with her. And it so devastated her that this morning she was in such despair. She just kind of cried out to God and said, oh God, if you're real, please help me, show me somehow today. And I said what I said, and she knew that was her answer to her prayer. Well, I ended up taking her hand by the hand and praying for her circumstance as she just tried to keep from just absolutely weeping. Tears were just running down her face. And she was just stunned. And it was an amazing thing for me. I just was so shocked. And I know I came away from that experience with like, oh my word, I love that. Oh God, could we do that again sometime soon? And interesting thing happened. I was in Marie Callender's months later. She had actually graduated from nursing school, that waitress, and moved away. And I was sitting here, and another waitress came up to me and began to tell me the details of this waitress's life. I didn't even know this waitress, and I realized what had happened is she had gone back and she had told all the other people at the restaurant. And that's how God does things. When he does something miraculous, people broadcast it, and he gets glory, and people's eyes and ears get open to his work and his will and his word. Now, I have to be on my best behavior now at Marie Callender, because I'm the guy that gave her that word. On my end, I do wish that would happen more often. And I look back, and the reason why it did happen that day was, one, I believed it could happen. You may be sitting here or listening to this thinking, well, that would never happen to me. That's only for super spiritual people. That's not true. It's not about you. It's about God, who loves people and still speaks. But you have to believe that it can happen. You have to believe that God still does things like that. But the next thing is really key, and I think this is the reason why it doesn't happen more often with me. In the midst of my busy day, when I was stood up for that lunch, I stopped and I prayed and I asked God, is there some purpose or reason for this? And then I listened. My problem is sometimes I get running through my day. I think God may want to use me in this way more often. He may have words for other people, but I get so busy and so filled with my own schedule that maybe I'm just not listening very well. Now, God's gracious, and I don't feel a ton of condemnation, and I don't want you to feel that. But it's a challenge to me and a challenge to you to stop every day, to ask the Lord to use you, and then throughout the day in those moments just to talk to Him, to see if He has something to say to you or to the people around you. Interesting, when I came to film here and I wanted to talk to the manager here, and I asked her if she'd heard the story at all because I wanted to tell the story here in the restaurant. She said she had, and then she went on to tell me her story about someone who came into this restaurant, she said, about 5 years ago at a very critical time in her life. And this person said, God sent me here, but I don't know why. Is something going on in your life? And then she poured out her heart, and this woman prayed for her, and it was just what she needed. Now, I want you to think about this. This is 5 and 6 years later. She's telling me this story, and she says, I wish I could find that person to thank her. It was so amazing. Dear friend, we have an amazing God who loves people, and He wants to speak to them, and He wants to use us. That's what being a kingdom person is. That's what helps bring transformation to the people around us. So I challenge and encourage you. Believe God can speak to you and can speak through you to other people if we'll just take the time to listen and then take the risk to share.